This is my typical Xbox controller, but we're gonna turn it into this. A company called eXtremeRate reached out to me to do a video about their custom controller mods that they sell. And of course, I said hell yeah. When I was younger, I used to love modifying controllers, and this gives me an opportunity to dive back into the style of modifying your Xbox controller. That being said, these are the ones that I picked out. I think they're cool and quick and easy to install. The first one we're going to talk about is changing your front plate. I went with the Great Wave because I think it looks great. The second modification I chose was changing the color of the LED light on your controller. Typically, the standard Xbox controller has a white LED, but I wanted to spice it up, so I ended up getting these gels that they offer to change the color of your Xbox Home LED. The third mod is changing the color of the buttons. I wanted them to match the front plate, so I went with these blue buttons. The lettering is blue while the background remains black. The fourth modification is changing the joysticks. These allow you to switch out different knobs or joystick ends to your preference. I thought these were cool and reminded me of the Elite Series controllers. The last mod we're going to be doing in today's video is trigger stomps. I like calling them trigger stomps, but you can whatever you like to call them. They allow you to shorten your main trigger's throwback. So by shortening it, you can fire a gun faster, and some people just prefer it. The cool part is they can be added on to any generic Xbox controller, and they also change the grip of your controller as well. So these are all the mods I picked up. So let's get into tearing down the controller and installing these mods. This is my Xbox Series X controller, and it's a typical Xbox Series X controller. There's nothing fancy about it except the strike pack plugged in. But I wanted to modify it. You see all these add-ons, all these like stuff that Amazon sells to change the front plates and add different joysticks. Well, a company reached out to me called eXtremeRate to do a collaboration video. They were giving me free products to try out. So, of course, I said, hell yeah, dude, I want to modify my controller. So I'm going to show you the different stuff that I got from them. I have a total of, I think, 7 products, different products they sell, and we're going to modify my generic Xbox Series X controller. So, of course, I'm going to take off my strike pack, put that off to the side. So the first one I got from, I actually don't know which one these are, which ones I ordered, and I forgot. So these are the different colors for your Xbox home button. So you know, like this is normally white. I got this bundle because you can change it to any color you want. So the theme we're doing is, for me, I'm doing blue, so I'm gonna choose the blue one. So we're gonna put this off to the side, and all the kits come with screwdrivers and screws. So if you misplace some screws, you have some extra ones. So this, on the other hand, this is really nice. This is joysticks. They're like the Elite Series where you can have swappable joysticks, but you can put this on your generic Xbox controller. They look like they're just end caps, and these are the different top ends. They kind of just slide on and click in place. So I think that's pretty neat. I definitely want to switch them out because I like my Elite Series tall sticks and the magnetic stuff. It works really well. So I can't wait to try these out and see how long they last and see how well they hold up. Going with the blue theme. The buttons are trigger stomps. I got detachable trigger stomps. Now they sell ones that like are modified that you can add to the the control board back here, but I went with kind of the generic ones that just the generic trigger stomps that like the Scuffs would use or something along those lines. And the last thing left is the faceplate. This is the faceplate I went with. I love this design. You see it a lot everywhere. My buddy has a Z that's wrapped in this, so I love it. I love the way it looks. So that's what we're going to be changing this controller to. So blue theme with white sides with this front plate, and it has a nice feel to it too. This is very nice. Haven't took apart one of these controllers in a while, so let's start taking it down. Now, if I remember right, you have to pop off these side pieces here to get to the screws, and there's a screw directly behind this. So let's take our nifty tools they gave us. One set. and start breaking off this. Okay. So back plates are off. Now that we have the controller exposed, we need to take out these screws. Now, I think these are T-heads. I don't know the exact diameter or the definition of the screw. They're pretty easy to take out. Luckily enough, I have these little drawers that I'm just gonna put all the screws in. Of course, the only downside to these is they're not magnetic. All right, so we got one more screw that should be holding us. All right. Theoretically, yeah. Once you remove the back screws, the front plate and back plate will peel right off. You are greeted with the controller itself, well, the internals of the controller, the joysticks and all that. I did take off the end caps again. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna remove the first and secondary board because we need access to the buttons up here. And of course, to get access to these buttons, we need to remove everything. So to modify the color of this, we'll have to take it apart and switch out these buttons. So there's 2 screws, one here holding the back plate, and then there's 6 screws. Well, holding the first motherboard, there's 2 screws. Holding the second one, there's 6. These are also part of the antennas for the receiver, the Bluetooth. They can pop right off with either tweezers or anything you have to really pop them off. So I'm going to take my smaller screwdriver and remove these 2 screws on the back here by the gyro motors. Let's subtract and go back to the front of the controller. We need to remove these 2 clips here. You could take this, the blue pulley thing that they give you. It's like an edge to pop off the corner, pop off this corner, and then just pull on this piece, pops right out. To take off the side triggers, we have to go to this corner here. There's a little notch and this corner over here. So I'm going to take the screwdriver we have and I'm going to pop it off from this corner over here. And voila, it comes right off. And then I'm going to do the same from over here. Kind of flung it, but it's off now. All right, so now that we have the triggers taken off, a lot better. We have more room to play with. So I'm gonna pop this back off again. Okay, now we have the board exposed. Now again, you have 1 screw, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But I removed that the first time I took this apart a while back. So let's take off the secondary board. Now that we have all the screws taken off, we can just pop this board right out. So this is our secondary board. This has a lot of the connections for the battery. Honestly, I don't know what much of this does here, but these are our triggers. This is the pairing button. This is the LED, and these are the tactile buttons for, A, B, and Y. I did notice that there's some solder left. Not solder, but flux left on these connections. So I don't know what that's about, but we're gonna set this off to the side for a second. Okay, so now that we have this exposed, to change the color of the LED, we need to put the piece of plastic that we have, like this one here, over the corner. Since this one was my failed attempt the first time around on a different controller, I'm gonna put that off to the side. So let's get the color I want. So this is the little piece we want here. And they gave us these little stickers to peel off the film so it sticks to the membrane. So I'm gonna take one of these stickers here and I'm gonna pull it off and then connect it to this. Let's think it for a minute and see if it will let me, if that is, aha, see, we peeled it off right there, first attempt. Okay, now that we have it peeled off, let's stick this bad boy to here. It wants to stay. Let me just. Okay, so we have it connected. So our next thing we're gonna do is change out the buttons. Now these buttons are pretty easy. You just pop them out. Use your index finger or whatever finger you have on the back side. I'm using middle finger. I'm popping them out, and we're gonna put them off to the side. And we're gonna put the new ones in, our dark blue ones. Now these are great because they have little notches, so they can only go in certain spots. Plus the B is the bigger button in this scenario. So we're gonna stick the B in. I just kind of spin it around till it goes in. Oh, there we go, fit it in. Y. Same thing, I just kind of, I mean, you can line them up with line of sight. Our X button, so bigger at the bottom, goes right in. Put that outside the side, and then our A. Okay, now that our buttons are in, we're just gonna take this membrane and switch it around and put it back on like this. Voila. Okay, that's it. That's all it takes to change the color of the LED. So now, I don't know how well this camera picks it up, but if you look through it, it's got a blue tint to it. So we're gonna put the board back in and get it screwed back down and put this thing all back together. All right, so now that the board is set in place, we can start screwing it back down. If you guys are curious in this type of stuff and interested in it and doing this type of modifications to your Xbox controller, PlayStation controller, I have the link in the description. If you buy through my referral code, it will help fund my channel, and I get a 10% commissions through anyone that purchases through my links. That'll be very helpful, especially for what I'm trying to do with everything now on my channel. Okay, so that we have the 6 screws installed now. I'm gonna put this off to the side. We want to put our headphone jack back in. Just place it so the pins are facing up. It'll slide right in. And then the first motherboard has like a little slot. It has to go back in to connect to the main board, and just push it in. Make sure it's lined up and push it in. So now I'm gonna re-screw down the top motherboard. Okay, since we have the screws back in, I'm gonna reconnect these wires so I don't forget. They're pretty easy, you just have to get them in the right spot and push them down. Okay, so now the wires are back together. Everything on it. Dude, look how good that looks. The blue looks very good. Okay, so now that we have this back together, let's get the bumpers reinstalled. The bumpers are quite easy. They just kind of have to line it up again. I would recommend pushing on the trigger. And it's already clipped in place. Let's do the same thing on the other side. And the bumpers are back in. And then we just have to put the front plate covers this here like this and clip it right back on. Okay, cool. Bumpers work. All right. So next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna install the joysticks. I'm just gonna place them right on top. Okay, they're installed. Now we're gonna put the faceplate and backplate back on it. So I recommend putting the backplate on first because it takes a bit to actually get it in. All right, so now the backplate is in. Let's get the front plate. So this is the front plate that I ordered for them. It's very nice. I like the way it feels. It's got a nice plastic, well, not plastic, it's got a nice textured feel to it on the print. And we're just gonna kind of push it on. And outside of that, that's kind of it for the plate. Now we just have to screw it down. I recommend using the smaller screws that they give you for the back of the controller to get the plate to mount on. Feels pretty good. It looks good. Really creak too much. Okay, so our last modification, these are the trigger stomps. Oh, I shook my camera. These are super cool, so let's get them out of the package. These are also white to match the controller aesthetic I was going with. Okay, so when we put them on, you want this tab here, this little tab facing, pointing down. And you want to take this piece and slide it over. Now, theoretically, these are on, right? So when we put them on the controller, these trigger stomps will actually work. Oh wow, okay. So right off the bat, it's working. Well, it's not interfering with anything. Let's turn these on. Oh, dude, they do work. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so these do work. Oh, holy crap. Okay, cool. Okay, so they do 100% work, and you could turn them on or off. This one's a lot easier than this one. I have to take it apart and figure out why, but outside of that, hey, it works. So let's throw the tall joysticks on. These are not magnetic; they are plastic. So clip on. And look at that. That is our finished controller. This is our completely finished controller. So Strike Pack is going to go back on. This is awesome, dude. I'm hyped. I'm actually pretty hyped to try this out. Alrighty, so we have a battery. I'm standing up right now, so the audio might sound a little different. So this is our controller now, fully built. Let's add the battery into it. Oh, dude. Oh, that's so sick. I'll turn my microphone up. Oh, that's so sick. Okay, so it is blue. It's awesome. This is sick. My Xbox is actually turning on right now. So, yeah, I'm pretty hyped. I'm pretty hyped. I can't wait to game on this. Now that we got everything installed, our controller is looking absolutely insane. Let's talk about these mods. I think all of them are really easy to install. They're quick, don't take too long, and there's no soldering involved. Just a matter of taking apart your controller and putting it back together. The new faceplate I installed, it has a very nice feel to it, almost like rubber. It feels quite nice in your hands. However, one of the things that I did notice with the new front plate is it's slightly thicker than the original, which makes the buttons slightly sunk down, but there is not really any problem with that. Changing the color of your LED was probably the easiest mod to install. It took me like 2 seconds. It's just a matter of taking apart your controller and putting it back together. I highly recommend if you want to just change your color. The buttons were super easy to install as well, and they just feel like OEM. So I have no complaints with those. Moving on to the joysticks, these are quite interesting. They work by creating friction between the joystick plate and the thumbstick, and they hold together quite well. I already dropped the controller and they didn't fall off, unlike my Elite series. I gotta give them props for that. I see these things lasting a while. You're not really going to change them out that often. So I highly recommend these, especially if your joysticks are getting wore out on your base controller. This is a simple mod to do. And our last mod by far is the simplest. You just have to pop off the side plates to change them out. The biggest benefit of trigger stomps is that they work well and they come with extra parts in case they break. They're very simple, they just work on or off, and that's it. Plus, if they do break or anything happens, they're easy to replace. And the grip is a fantastic upgrade for a base Xbox controller. Overall, these mods are absolutely fantastic. I appreciate eXtremeRate reaching out to me because otherwise I would have never known any of these existed. The custom mods I got from them are insane. I think these are definitely a quality of life upgrade, and they don't even take that long to do yourself. My overall opinion of all these mods is that they're very simple, easy, and it makes your controller feel and look 100 times better. So if you're looking to modify your controller, definitely check out eXtremeRate and see if you can find anything that's interesting to you. I think I'll definitely be doing more videos about their mod packs and add-ons in the future. That being said, I think I'm gonna end the video here. I have a code down below, so if you're interested in buying anything from eXtremeRate, The link is in the description. Have a good one.